Now, I'm thrilled to kick off today's event, Be Your Own Boss, The Journey to Agency Ownership, sponsored by Farmers Insurance. The Farmers organization offers home, auto, business, recreational vehicle, life, and other insurance, as well as financial services to more than 5 million households with more than 14 million individual policies. Today, we're excited to be joined by Farmers agent Stephanie Vian from Scottsdale and agent recruiters Lisa Telwar and Jackie Digiacomo to hear about the journey to owning a farmer's agency and its associated benefits. So Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to kick off the conversation with you. If you could just start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself.
Karen, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here. I've been a farmer's insurance agent for 5 years now. I never grew up saying I want to be an insurance agent when I grow up, yet I truly have found my dream job. So I'm excited to share that journey with you guys today, or you ladies. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona with my husband. We enjoy being outdoors, hiking, biking, going to the lake. So I'm just, again, very, very excited that you guys have me here today.
Fantastic. We're excited to have you as well. So I think I'd love to kind of start with is tell us a little bit about what you were doing. You said you had been a farmer's agent for 5 years now. So what were you doing prior to becoming a farmer's agent? Have you always been in the insurance industry?
Yeah, great question. So prior to becoming a farmer's insurance agent, I had worked in sales and marketing in a technology company. I had done that for a while. I had kind of found some success in that. And then I was recruited by a district manager to become a farmer's insurance agency recruiter. So I did that for nearly 3 years. After the first year, I was like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. After the second year, I go, After the third year, it's like, why am I not doing this? So it was such a great opportunity. I actually recruited myself into it. And really the rest is history. That's exactly how I got started.
I love that. Okay, so tell me, as you were going through this process of, a 3-year long process, it sounds like too, were you looking at other insurance companies and, why ultimately did you end up choosing Farmers?
Yeah, so I had looked at every other insurance company out there and every other program that was offered because I had 3 years to do it. And, I wanted to see what everyone else was doing in the industry. So ultimately, what made me choose Farmers was the brand, the claims process, the training. But really, ultimately, what it came down to was I was able to build an asset and have true business ownership over it. And that was so incredibly important to me because I had never dreamed that I would be a business owner. So the opportunity was completely different from most others in the industry. So that's how I found myself with the Farmers opportunity.
Great. And then you just mentioned too that Farmers had training available. What are your thoughts on training and how does that kind of work at Farmers?
Yeah, so Farmers has a lot of training, a plethora of training. It's very in-depth. They've got a couple of different ways that they do their training as well. So there's, first off, the University of Farmers. So it's both in person and it's an online platform. They're always adding new content. A lot of the content is only 2 or 3 minute videos that are relevant to what's going on. But then there's a lot that are, an hour long, and it really takes you through where we're at in the industry, what product training we have. There's sales skills, there's marketing skills. But then aside from that, we have a territory team, we have a state level team, and then one of the most valuable resources that we have is our district office. So our district office, they work in the same metropolitan area as we do. We get as much or as little support as we need at that time. There's an agency business consultant will come out to your office. They'll help train your staff. They'll help you on ROI, all these things that, I had never been responsible for before becoming a business owner. And even 5 years in, I have them on speed dial, they'll help me with whatever I might need. So the support and the training is endless.
That's fantastic. Okay, so let's change gears a little bit and talk about, you came into this industry or into this role in particular, having never done this before. So how did you strum up your initial sales and what difficulties did you encounter when you first started?
Yes. So I made it my goal when I started to not just hit up all my friends and family and say, let me do your insurance. So I started out by going to third-party lead vendor companies and people actively looking for insurance and just calling on them, texting them, dripping on them. We still actually use those same lead vendors today. 5 years later, it's allowed us to scale our industry. But I really wanted to do it. I thought friends and family are going to run out and I don't want to practice on them. So I started with these third-party lead vendors. And I mean, within the first year, though, of me becoming an agent, every single one of my friends and family came to me. And to this day, I insure everyone. So that's really how I got my first customers. The difficulties that I had were just, talking to enough people. And so I just overcame them by managing my daily activities and being consistent in what I did on a daily basis. Because, I'm not going to get fit going to the gym 1 day a week, but if I start going 3 or 4 days a week, I am. So it was all about that consistency of just talking to enough people and talking to the right people.
Great. And so tell me, now after 5 years in the role, what do you enjoy most about being an agent?
Oh, there's a lot of things that I enjoy, but I would say the thing that I enjoy most would be helping people. And I think that kind of comes in two forms for me. First of all, our policyholders. I enjoy that we get the opportunity to educate them. And on their darkest days, they call us and we can help. That is so powerful and impactful to me. But the other aspect of it is actually building a team. I really enjoy building a team environment with my staff. Not one person in my office had prior insurance experience before joining here. Wow. Yet everyone is so good at what they do. And it's been really fun to build that team and watch them through their lives and their careers, get married, have babies, buy new cars, buy a house, all these dreams that they never thought were possible. And I'm able to help them achieve those dreams. And so both of those are very, very impactful to me. And it's just helping others transform their lives. That's really what is the best part of being an agent.
I love that. Well, great. Okay. So then on the flip side, what's the hardest part about being an agent?
Well, the hardest part I would say is probably just getting started. I mean, getting started from the aspect of making the decision to become an agency owner. It's a lifestyle. It's not just another job. This will change your life. And it's not something that you can decide to do overnight. Right. And so I just found that once I finally committed and I got started, it's kind of like getting a train going, right? It takes a while, but when it's up to speed, it's hard to stop it. And that's the best thing that I can relate it to. I mean, as far as the hardest part, everything's hard. Just choose your hard. The tough times won't last. Tough people do. So choose your hard. I don't think it's hard necessarily. It's a challenge, but it's fun because you're building an asset for yourself and your family.
It's so funny because when we were chatting yesterday, I mentioned I have a 4-month-old and I totally resonate with this like day by day approach to just getting through this phase of life. Yeah. So I love that. So tell me, I think one of the things that we often talk about too is as women in the workplace is feeling supported and feeling like we have the like tangibles to really help us be successful. So what kind of support did you receive that you found most useful as an agent?
Support is everything, right? It can be the difference to make or break you. And so the support that I received as an agent was unbelievable with the onboarding process. And I spoke earlier about our district office, about the resources that they provided. They made sure that we knew the products, the systems, they were there on a daily basis, helping us with whatever we needed. So that was extremely valuable. But the other most useful thing that I had as an agent was when I found a mentor agent. They've been there. I couldn't believe how many people were willing to mentor. And they don't even want anything in return. The farmers community is unbelievable. The amount of agents who want to help you. They know the struggles of getting going, but they also know how rewarding it is. So that was extremely useful when I found a mentor agent.
That's great. Okay, so as you think back, what would you do differently if you could go back to the very start of your agency?
Yeah. So what I would have done differently at the start of my agency would probably be to find a mentor agent even sooner. Um, they helped me believe in my potential, and they helped me not listen to the noise. So I'm really big on positive attitude, right? If you can't change the situation, kind of change your attitude towards the situation, control what you can. But there's so much noise out there that you listen to. If you stay positive and you just work hard, everything falls into place here. I mean, the farmer's brand of products is so good. They help us sell them, you know? And so just cutting out the noise, having a positive mindset, and finding someone that you can talk to about it, who's been there but is maybe at a different level. That was very rewarding for me.
Great. Okay, a couple more questions, and I just want to remind the audience, if you have questions for Stephanie, use the Q&A feature, and we'll answer those. We'll save a few minutes at the end to answer those. So talk to me. You know, we've gone through this really crazy phase of life with COVID in the last now 2 years. How did that impact your agency?
Oh yeah, COVID was a challenge for a lot of industries and businesses and families. We were extremely fortunate that in my state, we were considered an essential business. And so we never had to close down. We were already fortunate that we were also leveraging technology in my agency. So a lot of the things that people were just adapting to, we already had in place, like the DocuSign, Zoom, texting our customers about their bills due, things of that nature. So we actually multiplied and had our best year, and we've now had even better years since then that we've built on. But we were able to just buckle down, and everyone was fortunate to have a job. Everyone was buying recreational vehicles and boats and all these fun toys too that we were insuring during the time. So our business just multiplied. And I think that that's something else that is very, very attractive for me, is no matter if we're in economic wealth or a recession, everyone has to have insurance. So it is an extremely stable industry and stable environment.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was just thinking about this last night, actually, because my husband and I actually purchased our house. We moved out of the city into the suburbs, purchased a home. So I have to imagine that was the sake for a lot of individuals.
Yeah, it was. And so it was great, a great time for us.
Great. Okay, so let's look at long-term plans. So what is kind of your long-term goal for your agency?
Yes, so my long-term goal, well, every goal that I have as an agency owner is actually a long-term goal, because this is not just a job. This is not something short-term that you do for a year or two. This is truly that lifestyle that I was talking about. I'm building an asset, right? I'm building my renewal base. I just want to continue to scale my business and scale that by, doing more marketing, by adding more team members, better systems, better processes, and just building a legacy and an asset that my future self will thank me for the work that I'm putting in today.
Fantastic. And there's very few industries where you can really do that effectively. I mean, that's, I think, what makes us so unique. Okay, so our final question, and then we'll switch over and chat with Jackie and Lisa a bit. Tell us, if you had one piece of wisdom you could share with potential new agents, what would your piece of wisdom be?
One piece of wisdom that I would share with new agents is to believe in yourself. I mean, work hard. You're going to get out what you put in. Success is where hard work and opportunity meet. Farmers is giving you the opportunity. All you have to do is put in the hard work. Make it your lifestyle, and it won't feel like work. It will be fun, and you'll be building, and it will be extremely valuable, and just it will change your life if you let it. So this opportunity is not like any other I've seen out there. Farmers as a company is great. They really support their agents. The industry is phenomenal, and the people that you meet along the way are one of the best pieces of it as well.
Oh, that's so great. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much. I so appreciate this conversation. We're actually, again, if you have questions for Stephanie, feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and we'll save the last 10 minutes or so to answer some of those questions. But we're going to switch gears now to hear from farmers recruiters, Lisa Telwar and Jackie Digiacomo. Jackie, every time I say it, I get nervous that I'm going to butcher your last name. But Lisa and Jackie, thank you so much for joining.
It's our pleasure to be here, Karen. Thank you so much for having us. And if you'll indulge me for just 1 second, I want to just give a quick shout out to Melissa Foff on our agency initiatives team that worked with Fairygodboss and put all of this together for us. We're just thrilled, Jackie and I both, to be here. And I actually have spent some time on the Fairygodboss website. What an amazing job you all are doing, creating a clearinghouse of information for women in the workplace. Truly, kudos, our hats off to you. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource. So we're just thrilled to be here and to get the chance to talk about agency ownership to women who want to be in business. We're very excited.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We're so excited to have you. So I'm actually going to start with you, Lisa. I'd love to just understand from your perspective, what do you think is the most unique thing about the farmers agency owner opportunity?
So there's a few things. One is we have an exceptional bonus program for the first 3 years. I think Stephanie, there's a part of me that I'm like, maybe we should just stop with Stephanie, because I think Stephanie did a great job explaining what it's like to be a farmer's agent and her evolution. The support is there. So from onboarding all the way through our veteran agents, we have support in place for each stage of the evolution of that agency. We have a broad suite of products available as well. So those of you that don't know the insurance industry, we have personal lines, which is like auto, home, personal umbrella. We have commercial insurance. So there's businesses that you can insure, everything from pizzerias to landscaping companies. We have specialty lines, which is recreational vehicles, motorcycles, et cetera, yachts. Boats are a big thing. I'm located here in Nashville, Tennessee, and everybody's got a bass boat. So you can insure those as well. We have a full suite of life insurance products, meeting people where they are in life. We're all familiar with life insurance, being consumers ourselves, but we have a suite of products that can meet people depending on what their needs are for life insurance. We also have financial products. If you want to put your toe into that market and sell financial products to your client base, that's also available. Last but certainly not least, we have a national brand, our bump. We're definitely getting our money's worth out of those notes. So the bonus structure, the support, the broad suite of products, and a nationally recognized brand are the things that I feel like really distinguish farmers in the marketplace. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's a fantastic overview. Now, I'm curious too, with starting a lot of businesses, there's usually some type of capital requirement to get started. What does that look like for farmers?
So farmers want their agent candidates to have a minimum of $50,000 to invest in their business. So please hear me, because I know that some eyebrows just went up when I said that. I know there was some intake of breath. Please hear me. We do not take possession of your funds. We don't escrow them. We don't budget them. Those funds are earmarked to help put you in business. It's used for you to grow your business. That's the purpose of those funds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And so what types of funds, outside of somebody just having, $50,000 in cash laying around, what types of funds could they use to meet those requirements?
I would love to help answer that question. So to be considered for our agency ownership opportunities, candidates need to have capital from liquid assets. We ask that you could have access to these funds in case you need to utilize them for your agency, like Lisa had mentioned. And I'll give you a few examples of what would qualify. So assets such as marketable securities, including stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. We also accept checking and savings accounts, as well as money market accounts, and as well as lines of credit. So for instance, a home equity line of credit would be accepted. It's also important to note that you can combine funds from multiple different sources. So if you have, let's say, $25,000 in a checking account, along with $25,000 in a home equity line of credit account, then you can combine those for a full sum of the $50,000. So I hope that adds some clarity to your question.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I want to follow up with, because we talk about this a lot on Fairygodboss, is I'm sure you both know the barrier to entry for many women and underrepresented minorities into entrepreneurial opportunities tends to be that access to capital needed to get started. So Jackie, are there opportunities for individuals who might not have access to the capital requirements necessary to open their own agency right away?
Oh yes, absolutely. We certainly have additional options. We offer a fantastic program called the Protege Agency Producer Program. And through the Protege program, eligible candidates can work for a local farmers agency owner and have access to our award-winning University of Farmers online training that could help build them their skills that's needed to become an agency owner. And if the Protege agency producer completes the applicable training, as well as the production marks that we ask for, as well as other requirements to be an agency owner, then the capital can be waived at that point. So this program typically takes about 12 or so months, maybe less at times, to complete. And upon graduation, you would open your own agency with that capital requirement being waived. So this is really a wonderful program with abundant training, as well as other benefits too. So if you're interested, maybe looking into additional training, I would highly suggest researching a little bit more in the Protege program.
Great. Fantastic. Okay, so what types of requirements or what types of licenses, security licenses, does somebody need in order to pursue a farmer's agent opportunity?
So we require you to be property casualty licensed, as well as life, accident, and health licensed. Our agents are not required to obtain their security licenses, but obtaining the security licenses and becoming approved to sell through our Farmers Financial Solutions LLC is highly encouraged. It's a wonderful way to drum up additional revenue for your agency. And on top of that, if you have a client that is looking to speak with you about financial planning needs, I'm willing to bet they're going to speak with you about their property and casualty insurance as well. So it's another way to kind of build that clientele with your clients and strengthen that relationship. So we offer multiple different financial solutions through our Farmers Financial Solutions LLC, which really is a broker dealer that works with several different product providers. Typically what our agents do is they'll focus on the bread and butter, so our property and casualty products first for at least the first couple of years. And then once you kind of have that under your belt and you're ready to explore additional revenue sources, that's when we suggest going after the financial products and the financial services. So we certainly do have some options there, but really it's the property and casualty license as well as life, accident, and health. And if you would like, we have tons of resources for you to obtain those financial security licenses as well.
Great. I know I can speak as a consumer. I love having everything in one place. Like, makes it very easy for me to keep things organized, not having to worry about where everything lives. So that makes total sense. Okay, so Lisa, can you tell us a little bit more of, starting your own business? What kind of common expenses do agents incur?
So it's what you would anticipate.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lease expense, you're going to take on retail space. You'll have producers working for you. You'll have your marketing efforts. I mean, a simple way of saying it is everything from the Wi-Fi to the paper and the printer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's such a good analogy, because I think as a lot of people start thinking about owning their own business, those are the things you might miss. Everybody needs a stapler. So I totally can resonate with that. Stephanie touched on this a little bit, but do farmers agents own their own book of business?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Stephanie did touch on this a little bit, which is one of the benefits that she thought of owning her own farmers insurance agency. And this is definitely a benefit that I believe in as well. So I'll help explain exactly what the agency owner truly owns. So the companies, meaning Farmers Insurance, they own the policyholder information and the expirations, but the farmers agents have an opportunity to sell the service and commission rights to either a family member or on the open market. So you could certainly grow this business with the intent of passing it down to your family members, or even selling it on the open market. And essentially you could view this as an asset that you could sell down the line.
So Lisa, tell us then a little bit more about, how do you build this agency? Like, this all sounds fantastic, but what are the key elements to building a successful agency?
So there's a few things, and this list isn't all inclusive. It's just
Mhm.
some of the things that for the purpose of today that we came up with. So there's some things you're going to need outside in your agency itself, and then there's some things you're going to need inside.
Mhm.
So in the agency itself, having staff, having producers works, and it works for a couple of reasons. One, these are people that are helping bring business, new business, sales into your agency. And then they're also helping retain those clients. So in the insurance industry, renewal commissions occur. So that reoccurring revenue is really a lovely thing. It's what attracted me to the insurance industry initially as well, and why I started an agency some 22 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So that, the staff members will help not only bring business in, but help you retain it.
Mhm.
The other thing is this: you have to have some business acumen. You have to have a basic understanding about, outgo versus income, right? So that's a pretty basic, business understanding. So you have to have some business acumen. Some sales and management experience is a key that's really helpful. You have to have a work ethic. It's your own business. If you're not coming to it ready to put in the time, energy, and hours, as Stephanie mentioned, turning it into a lifestyle, that's one of the key elements. And an entrepreneurial spirit, having the desire to build something of your own. Those are some of the key factors we see that equate to long-term success with our agents.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I have to imagine, the idea of really having ownership and it being yours, that has I think, especially for women, just like a sense of that financial stability that comes with it is incredibly appealing. So Lisa, I think for you as well, what types of resources are then available to agents? I know we've touched on a couple of them, but if you had to kind of distill it for us, what would that look like?
Yeah, so here comes the list. So I have a list. So I'm going to look down from time to time. I know that's a cardinal sin when you're doing live presentations, but I could not memorize the list. So initially, and again, some of this Stephanie already touched on. So we have the University of Farmers that does our training. It's an award-winning training program. You have an onboarding consultant that works with you to help you get through training and onboarding. As Stephanie mentioned, there's the connection with agents that are already in the field, that are already doing this work. So there's the agent to agent connection that is a fabulous resource. We have reps in the field that will work with you. If you're interested in selling commercial insurance, there's a commercial rep. If you're interested in selling life insurance, there's a life insurance rep. We have territory resources. So you have an area sales leader. You have a new agent specialist that's attached to you for the first 3 years to work with you. You have a market leader who's in charge of that state or that area to make sure that, Farmers is maintaining a good standing, a good presence in that area. You have a marketing specialist as well that works with you. We have on-demand resources, customer service and underwriting that's available to you. And then there's an integrated lead and client management system that was built by a leader in that technology. I don't think I'm allowed to say the name, so we're going to leave that out for the time being. That will help you not only grow, but then keep your business organized going forward. Does that help paint a picture?
Yes, definitely. And I
There
think
are
that
a lot of resources, long story short.
yeah, it sounds like it covers everything, especially, you mentioned before, those first 3 years are really critical with anything, with starting a new career, with starting a new job. You really are kind of providing that foundation necessary for people to be successful long-term. So that's fantastic.
Well, Farmers likes to talk about it that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Over the 22 years I've been around the company, I've heard that more than once. So I'll just go ahead and add that. So it kind of helps create a picture.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, great. So for any of our members, the members of our audience who are interested in learning more about becoming a farmer's agent, what does that process look like?
So we have various different entry points, like Jackie just touched on. There's the protege entry point. We have something called the retail program. That's our scratch entry point. And on occasion, a farmer's agency does become available for sale. We call those acquisitions. So regardless of which entry point you come in, there are some commonalities in the process. The first one is a background check. Following the background check is licensing. Now, the licenses Jackie mentioned, that varies from state to state. That's up to the Department of Insurance. But again, our recruiting staff in the various areas is very adept at helping you, kind of walk through that process. Once your background check clears, once you're licensed, then there's 5 weeks of training. Currently, it's all virtual. We're not using our training centers, but you have an onboarding consultant that's working with you through the training. And finally, the onboarding process. So those stages, background check, licensing, training, and onboarding are common regardless of the entry point that you choose.
Fantastic. And how long, like on average, does that process take? Is there like a certain amount of time?
It varies based on the individual. If I'm throwing a number out there, which is essentially what I'm doing, I'd say anywhere from maybe 4 to 6 months, depending on how motivated you are. How long it takes to get licensed varies from state to state. Some states require more hours than others. So there's definitely some variability. But what's great is we meet you where you are and work with you. I mean, that's at least, as a recruiter, I don't want to speak for all the recruiters throughout Farmers. As a recruiter, and I'm sure Jackie would verify, I've worked with clients based on what their needs were when they were ready to jump in and start the process. So does that make sense?
Yes, definitely. That's
Great.
fantastic. Okay, great. So what about marketing support? So I'm curious, does Farmers offer marketing support to their different agency owners?
Yeah, I'd love to help answer this question. So here at Farmers, we understand that marketing is an integral part for growing your business. So yes, we absolutely provide a wide variety of marketing support. For example, we offer pre-approved collateral, so you don't have to worry about having compliant marketing material. We will provide that for you. We also offer a lead management system powered by industry-leading technology and lead programs, including corporate provided leads through our websites, as well as discounted lead offerings through top lead providers. We also offer a agency growth program package that agents can pay to participate, which includes access to a premium branded website, social media services, digital advertising, website support, and much more. And on top of that, if you qualify for certain bonus opportunities, you could receive up to $500 each month for 3 years to pay for lead credits. So yes, we absolutely do support you with marketing.
Fantastic. Great. Okay. So I think Stephanie had mentioned originally that one of her things she liked most about Farmers was the claims process. So are the agency owners responsible for handling claims, or is that a separate department? How does that work?
That's a great question. Yeah, so our agents are not licensed claim handlers. So no, they would not be responsible for handling claims. We have our own claims department that's open 24/7. However, not to kind of get off topic, agents can assist customers with filing claims and can help educate them on the various options available to them, such as access to guaranteed repair program facilities and other service providers. We also have a really cool claims management portal that shares information of the status of claims with customers and the agent.
Well, thank you both so much. We've got a couple of questions that are coming in, so I want to bring Stephanie back on too. So Jordan asked, how would you recommend finding a mentor agent? And I think Stephanie, he or she was directing this one to you.
Yeah, that is a great question. And where to start, again, is always the hardest part. So I would recommend going to your district manager or going to the state level or territory level, finding someone there and saying, hey, I'm looking for a mentor agent, and kind of explain a little bit about what you're trying to achieve with this mentor agent or what you're trying to get out of it. And they'll usually help connect you with someone, because I had that same thing where I said, you know what, I want to be a lot better at life insurance. And my district manager actually went to someone at the state level saying, hey, who would you recommend? And they made the introduction for me. And that was invaluable. So use those resources. I mean, if there's someone on a tracker that you see, or just, you can call them. Every Farmers agent I've encountered that I've asked to be a mentor or just someone to be an ear to listen to or guide me through something has been very, very helpful. If I like to say, find someone in your territory so that you can talk about a lot of things, but then also find someone outside of that so you can get some different ideas as well. Feel free to call me. I'll talk all day. So call me, email me, whatever it might be. And even if I don't become your mentor agent, hopefully I can help guide you into maybe I know someone who could be helpful for you as well. So yeah, use me. I would love, I mentor quite a few agents, and that's very rewarding to me. It's one of my most fun things, and it makes it really exciting for me to see them achieve their goals too. So I get fulfillment out of that as well.
Fantastic. Okay, great. And then we have a question from John. So he says, if the owner is responsible for the everyday needs and bills for the facility, what on average does the annual income look like for an owner?
So that's a great question. I don't know what the average income of a farmer's insurance agent would be. I know that there's kind of a sliding scale as far as you're going to get in what you put out. Just know that every agent here has access to the same resources. We get the same systems, the same products, the same marketing. It's just going to be what you put into it. And I might recommend that if you're looking into the agency opportunity, to go to someone local, a local recruiter, and maybe talk to them a little bit more about that, because I'm sure it looks very different around the nation. So I wouldn't be able to speak to that necessarily, but you're right. You get to be the jack of all trades, or the Jill of all trades for us here on the call, right? So, and that's what's really fun. But I've started because I've done a lot of that. I've kind of farmed that out. So, I have an accountant, I have a bookkeeper, I have a lot of people in my circle that help me run the day-to-day operations.
Fantastic. Well, great. And I actually have a question, and Lisa, Jackie, this may be better geared towards you. Stephanie gave us her experience that she was coming from a non-insurance background. Where have you seen individuals transition from? What types of experience have they come from coming into an insurance position? Because I think for some of our audience members, it might not even be fathomable, right? Their backgrounds may not be aligned. But I'm curious, what types of different career changers have you seen?
I've seen a little bit of everything, Karen. I've seen people come out of the pharmaceutical space. I've seen people come out of the retail space, lately, especially because there's a lot of changes going on. I think that we live in the information age. So there's more available to us. And with that bit of information that's available to us, it creates a certain desire in people. I have people that are former business owners that are, have sold a business and they're looking for the next thing that they want to start, that they want to get into. I have people, we have people come out of the military a lot as well that see the value of being in the insurance industry. Many of the things Stephanie talked about, that we're, yes, we are subject to economic conditions the same way everybody else is, and maybe a little bit less so. So, there's no limit. I've had people come out of, the C-suites that have retired from corporate, and what they want is they want their own thing. They want to grow something, create an asset, and have the ability to have that fund, additionally fund their retirement. Anything you want to add to that, Jackie?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off you a little bit. I've definitely I've seen that business owners have come to me just because they see the beauty of renewal. So the insurance products are definitely attractive. But more recently, I've been working with a lot of individuals from auto dealerships and auto sales, and as well as hospitals, so nurses, just because of the long hours in both industries and the burnout that occurs. I have a lot of individuals coming from those two industries.
Yeah, I was going to also mention teachers. I actually have a best friend who's a teacher, and she wanted to start her own business. She actually went into insurance for the same reason. She was, they have summer break, but not really. She was constantly working and trying to find something that fit the lifestyle that she wanted a little bit closer.
It's funny you mentioned that, because my brother and his wife, who's a teacher, are actually looking to move with my mother into the insurance world. And my side of the family owns a farmer's agency. No relation to my corporate role, but it's certainly a family business.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, so a couple more questions that have come in from audience members. If somebody's interested in interviewing, what's the best way to prepare for an interview to become an insurance agent, or to have that conversation with a recruiter to get started?
So I can give my perspective on it, and then maybe Jackie and Lisa want to give theirs as well. But I would say do your research ahead of time. Know a little bit about the company and talk a little bit about how this aligns with your lifestyle that you're looking to achieve, and how you feel you could be a valuable asset. So I would look into that, but make sure whatever company it is, make sure that you know something about them, the history, how they got started, where they are today, even that you attended this webinar. Those little things show that you've put some thought into this, because again, this is a lifestyle change. This is business ownership, right?
Mhm.
It's not just another job interview. So that would be my take on it.
Great. Lisa, Jackie, anything to add to that?
Well, I would offer that's fabulous advice. Once again, Stephanie has hit it out of the park. That's a very sound, it's a smart thing to do. And it's okay to just reach out to a recruiter. We're all
Mhm.
very well trained to answer the big questions. I have a lot of people that come from outside the insurance industry. I mean, that's the
Mhm.
vast majority of my candidates. So it's okay if you don't know what to ask. We're prepared for that. And it's a common everyday occurrence. Anything you want to add, Jackie?
Certainly do your due diligence, and your relationship with your recruiter should be an educational relationship. You want to learn as much as you possibly can before moving forward to the next steps, and taking that commitment. So certainly just ask away and do your due diligence.
Great. Okay, and then this one came in as well, and I think, and actually, as I'm like sitting here talking with you all, I'm realizing you all are like very entwined with farmers. Jackie sounds like a family business. Lisa had her own insurance agency. Like you drank the Kool-Aid, which I think is fantastic. A lot of as somebody who, or as we talk on our community quite often, is that first step of just getting started can be really daunting. And to see, three successful women who have been very involved in this industry, coming from different backgrounds, I think that's really reassuring for our audience base. So that just dawned on me as we're sitting here chatting all the different connections. But one of the attendees also asked, what are some other challenges that somebody could expect? Like, how do you prepare for those challenges of becoming an agent?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. We spoke a little bit earlier about, it's challenging just to say I'm in, but then when you're in, what do those challenges look like? I could say that the biggest challenge is just being consistent, having a positive mindset, and just going back to basics. Don't try to eat the whole elephant at once. As silly as that sounds, when you open a business and become a business owner, there's a lot to do and it's daunting. So make a list of what you want to achieve and when you want to achieve it. Otherwise, everything will be a challenge if you're trying to do it all at once. So, we're staying relevant in the industry, right? Adapting to the technologies and the new way of things. You could call that a challenge, I guess, but to me, that's fun, being adaptive. And I think every industry is going through that right now. But just be willing. I know that that's sometimes a challenge for people, is to adapt to new things, but every day is different, and just take it one day at a time.
Great. Lisa, Jackie, anything else to add to that?
So I would offer, this is going to sound, I don't know how this is going to land. You have to be willing and be able to hear the word no and not be discouraged by that. And I think that's true for any sort of business ownership. Having always been an entrepreneur until recently, I mean, this is my first corporate position, but you, as a business owner, I feel like you handle the challenges that are in front of you today, and then those are handled, and then the next group of challenges show up. In the insurance industry, what you're looking for as an owner is volume. So you're going to hear no. And I've had candidates come through that hear no and they're devastated. And I'm like, no. Put them on your list to call next year and pick up the phone again or do the next thing. So I think being able to hear no and having it just roll off your back, I think that that's a key component when you're offering a product that everyone has to have. You don't have to go looking for your market. You're literally swimming in it. If somebody has a pulse, they're going to need some kind of insurance product one way or the other. So I think having the ability to hear no and kind of having that light of fire under you, I think that would be a good skill set, a good thing to bring to the table.
Great. Okay, so a couple more questions from the audience. So Lily is asking, do you have any advice on how to connect with realtors, loan officers to help kind of build a future relationship for your business? Which I mean, Lily is a genius, because I just told you I bought a house and I wasn't even thinking about that. So Stephanie, I would love your take on, how you kind of built that network.
Yes, Lily, I love it. I love that you're thinking that way, because building those relationships are so powerful and so impactful, especially the earlier you can do it in your career. It's never too late though. I would say the best way to start is probably wherever your office is at, look in your own complex, look in your own neighborhood, and just let them know you're the neighborhood farmers insurance agent and you'd like to partner with them and see how you could help each other, right? You can help them at the end of the day more than they could probably help you even. They will refer you to their friends. As we get customers and we're doing refis, anything like that, we're asking those lenders out to coffee, to connect, see how maybe we can work together. Not everyone's going to say yes, right? Don't be discouraged though when 10 people tell you no. Just keep going for that one yes that will be a lifelong professional relationship for you, because they will help you forever and you will be able to help them.
Great. And then last question, and we'll wrap things up. So tell us, someone asked, what advice do you have for women who are facing imposter syndrome when considering a career as an agent? So we talk about this concept of imposter syndrome a lot, being a little bit concerned about whether or not they can do it, if they have the skill set, if they have those intangible assets to get going. So any advice on women that might be doubting themselves or doubting their ability to be successful here?
Yes, and great question. If I can do it, you can do it. I have to say that. And it really comes down to the belief that you can do it. This is a male-dominated industry, right? And so, and I get that fear and that challenge that comes with it and kind of the stigma of it. But prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. You can do it. Call me. I will be your hype girl. Lisa will be your hype girl. Trust me. You can do it. Just put in the work and show them who's boss.
Great. Lisa, Jackie, anything else to add?
Yeah, I'll throw in my 2 cents because I've dealt with that in the past. I used to compete a little bit in my college and earlier years, and that was a little bit of a struggle. I didn't truly believe I belonged there, right? So it's a lot of having a false bravado a lot of the time. It's just a lot of positive self-talk and telling yourself the exact opposite of what your brain is telling you. So get in front of that mirror and say, I am the best. I know I'm the best. I deserve to be here, and I'm going to make this my future. Just be stern with yourself. And if you need to have a false bravado, hone it. Just make it happen.
Great. Lisa, anything else?
Yeah, I just would offer real quickly. I don't think that people that are successful stop having doubts. And in fact, I suspect the more successful you become, maybe the more louder the doubts are, because you're seeing yourself achieve things that you never knew that you could. I think Stephanie and both what Jackie said is very accurate. The way to alleviate the doubts is through the doing. Some people say, well, first it's you change what goes on in your head and then the actions will follow. I suspect it might be the other way around. And I think all business owners deal with doubts about themselves. I think corporate people deal with doubts about themselves. I think that that's just part of being alive on the planet and being human, that we doubt our abilities. And I think with a lot of people, it stops them from ever trying. And I think that's a shame. You're missing out on what the next thing would be. So if you're waiting for your doubts to stop before you jump in, I would say that that's probably not going to happen. You're going to carry your doubts with you. It's which voice are you going to choose to listen to? The one that's cheering you on or the one that tells you you can't do it? And that is a choice. And it's a choice we all have to make every day.
Definitely. Well, ladies, thank you so much. This has been an incredible conversation. You all come with such a wealth of knowledge around farmers and the opportunity, but also I just appreciate the transparency so much because, as I said, it could be a little bit of a daunting experience for someone new who's considering something like this. So thank you so much. Just a reminder to our audience, we will be sending out a recording of today's conversation with additional resources so that you can learn more about opportunities as a farmer's agent. In the meantime, though, if you'd like to learn more, you can visit Farmers Recruiting site. It's https://recruitment.farmers.com. And ladies, thank you again so much. It was great talking with you.
Thank you, Karen. And thank you.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.